Ryan, have been married to Gabriella for 3 years now. And somewhere along the line, in our infinite wisdom, or sheer lack of planning, we decided to bring another human into this already chaotic world. My son, who is about a year old now, is hands down the most important person in my life. People like to spout this romantic nonsense about how in a marriage, the couple should put each other first before the kids. Sure, that sounds nice in a book or a TED Talk, but let me tell you, when you're holding a screaming, pooping, sleep-destroying bundle of joy, that theory goes right out the window. I loved Gabriella, I really did, but once our son came along, the love distribution chart shifted, and spoiler alert, she did not end up in first place. We both wanted children, so it wasn't like he was some surprise alien landing. We just hadn't planned on it happening so soon. We thought we'd wait a little longer, maybe travel, maybe save money, maybe just sleep without a baby monitor blaring like an air raid siren at 3 a.m. But happy mistakes happen, like when you think you ordered one pizza and instead get two. Only in this case the pizza screams and you can't send it back. When Gabriella told me she wanted to go ahead with the pregnancy, I did what any reasonable husband would do, smiled, nodded, and said, "Whatever you want, honey." Internally, I was doing backflips. I was ecstatic. I was picturing all the future father-son moments, teaching him how to ride a bike, coaching Little League, maybe even sharing my Netflix password. 9 months later, as biology tends to work like clockwork, our son arrived. Healthy, loud, and already suspiciously expensive. Thankfully, Gabriella had a safe pregnancy and delivery. No emergency drama, no TV-style screaming doctors yelling, "We're losing her." Nope, it was straightforward. She gave birth. I cried, and the baby pooped within 5 minutes. Classic. But here's the thing no one really prepares you for. Parenthood is tough. Like, really tough. You think you're ready? You're not. The sleepless nights alone make you question whether this was your idea or whether you were tricked into it by some cute Pinterest nursery photos. Shortly after our son was born, Gabriella was diagnosed with postpartum depression. And that's when things got heavy. I stepped up, of course. Took on the mantle of super dad. No cape, just spit-up-stained shirts and bags under my eyes that could carry groceries. I handled late-night feedings, diaper blowouts that could rival a nuclear explosion, and a baby that thought sleeping was optional. "Ryan, I just can't," Gabriella would say, sinking into the couch with that far-off look. "I know, babe," I'd reply, bouncing our son like I was auditioning for the part of desperate parent number 3 in a sitcom. "Don't worry. I've got him. Again. Always. Forever." My arms are basically maracas at this point. I won't lie, it was tough. Seeing her struggle, knowing she wasn't herself, and at the same time, I was dog-tired. But I didn't complain. Out loud. To her. Complaining inside my head was my new hobby. I didn't mind taking care of my kid. He's mine too, after all. And if my wife needed help, then I was damn well going to give it. Even if it meant sacrificing my sanity and half my hairline. Doctors prescribed her medication. We made our regular rounds at the clinic. I became such a familiar face in the waiting room that I expected them to hand me a loyalty punch card. Come for 10 visits. Get your 11th meltdown free. 2 months later, the meds started to work. She smiled again, laughed again, and finally stopped looking like she wanted to bury me alive every time I asked what was for dinner. She was much better. The thing is, as much as I could tell that things were a lot better than they were before, it still seemed like Gabriella didn't care as deeply about our son as I did. I mean, I was out here stressing over whether we had enough balloons for his first birthday like it was a royal coronation, while she was treating it like, he's one. He won't remember anyway. "Don't you think we should order a special cake?" I asked her once. "For who?" she deadpanned. "He doesn't have teeth. He can't even say cake." I just stared at her. "It's not for him. It's for the photos. You know, memories? Scrapbooks? The part where we pretend we've been the perfect parents for 12 consecutive months." She rolled her eyes. "Ryan, sometimes I think you love that scrapbook more than you love me." Well, one of you doesn't cry when you take away a bottle, so yeah. Part of me actually wondered if she hated our son. Which sounds dramatic, I know, but when you see your wife look at your kid the way I look at broccoli, it's hard not to question things. But then there were those moments, like when I'd stumble into the living room unannounced and catch them playing. She'd be laughing, tossing him in the air, kissing his cheeks. And in those moments, I thought, okay, maybe she does love him, she's just hiding it better than she hides everything else. But then there were other moments, and man, it was like she'd rather scrub grout with a toothbrush than put in any effort with him. Total indifference. The baby's crying? She'd sigh like someone just asked her to donate a kidney. One night, I finally brought it up. "Hey, Gabriella, do you maybe want to talk to a doctor about how you're feeling toward him?" I asked, trying to sound casual, like I wasn't secretly bracing for a frying pan to the head. Her eyes narrowed immediately. What do you mean? I said carefully. Sometimes you seem a little detached. Like, you're not all the way in it. And that's fine. Lots of people get help. Maybe it's not just being tired. She snapped. Ryan, nothing's wrong with me. I'm tired. That's it. End of story. I opened my mouth, stupidly. I don't know, it feels like more than tiredness. Her glare could have melted steel. Do you want me to spell it out? I'm fine. And just like that, I knew I was either shutting up or sleeping on the couch. So I shut up. Smartest decision I made all year. I left it there and never brought it up again. Secretly, I hoped maybe as our son grew older, I'd see her warm up more. Spoiler alert, that's not happening. Because our family? Yeah, it's about to explode into confetti and tears. And all of it, is her fault. I found out Gabriella was having an affair. The absolute cherry on top of this dumpster fire Sunday. And you know what? If you're going to betray your husband and wreck your marriage, the least you can do is be good at hiding it. But nope, not my Gabriella. She was like the world's worst magician, nothing up my sleeve. Oh wait, except this other guy. She'd come home later than usual, practically sneaking in like a raccoon caught in the trash. And then, when I'd ask her where she was, she'd stumble and struggle to lie about where she was. I asked her once if there was something going on with another guy, and she stumbled so hard over her words I thought she was auditioning for a role in a soap opera. You know when kids try to lie about eating cookies and they've still got crumbs all over their face? Yeah, it was kind of like that. Honestly, I could have just taken that moment as proof, but of course, I had to be the responsible husband. Our son was still really young, and I didn't want him growing up in a broken home. So, like an idiot, I kept giving Gabriella the benefit of the doubt. Spoiler, she didn't deserve it. In the end, though, she pushed me right to the breaking point, and there was really nothing else left to do. One night, she came home drunk. And I don't mean tipsy, giggly, had one too many drinks drunk. I mean full-on karaoke queen, can't walk straight, trying to unlock the front door with a credit card drunk. Totally out of character for her. The moment she stumbled in, I lost it. Where the hell have you been, Gabriella? I barked. She waved her hand at me, almost tripping over the carpet. Ryan, relax, I'm fine. Fine? You're slurring your words like you swallowed a blender. Where were you? Silence. Just her wrestling with her heels like they were welded to her feet. I'll ask again, where were you? Still nothing. She was mumbling something under her breath, possibly in another language, or possibly just drunk Morse code. By the third time I asked, she finally spat it out. I was with Taylor. Taylor. Great. New character unlocked. Who the hell is Taylor? I demanded. She blinked at me, wobbled a little, then went back to tugging at her shoe strap like the answer was written on it. Gabriella, focus. Who is Taylor? Finally, she looked up at me, eyes glassy, and said, Taylor is better than you. That's who he is. Oh, there it was. Right between the eyes. If she wanted to stab me in the gut, mission accomplished. At that point, I didn't even bother yelling. I just grabbed her phone right out of her purse and started scrolling through it right in front of her. Old move, I know. Normally, this would have sparked a WWE-style match in the living room, but she was so drunk she could barely stand. She made one lazy swipe for the phone, missed completely, and then gave up like, screw it, you win. And oh boy, the treasure trove I uncovered. There it was in black and white, messages with Taylor. Some random guy she'd met at a bar months back. And not just, hey, how are you messages. No. These were the kind of texts that make you want to bleach your eyeballs after reading. Apparently, they'd been meeting up for little fun nights, whenever she felt like it. And guess what? That very night was one of those nights. The second time they ever met up, he had sent her his address. Jackpot. So, in my infinite wisdom, I decided to send him a message right then. Hey, Gabriella left something at your place. I'll come get it. Looking back, this was extremely reckless. Like, 10 out of 10 on the bad decision scale. Especially because I took my son with me. I wasn't planning to be violent. I wasn't rolling up to Taylor's place like some dollar store Liam Neeson. I just wanted the guy to know exactly who he was messing with. So when he came walking out, expecting Gabriella, and saw me step out of the car instead, oh, the shock on his face was priceless. It was like he'd just opened a bag of chips and found out they were half air. I cut right to the chase. No need for pleasantries. Yeah, hi. So, plot twist. My wife just stumbled home wasted. And surprise, I know she came from here. His eyes widened. Wait, your wife? I didn't know she was married. And you know what? I believed him. He looked genuinely blindsided, like someone just told him Santa was fake. Well, congrats, I said, waving toward the car. That same woman has a 1-year-old asleep in the back seat. Meanwhile, she's been prioritizing partying and, let's be real here, sleeping with you. So yeah, that's who you've been dealing with. He stammered. I didn't. I cut him off before he could start auditioning for Best Supporting Actor in the I swear I didn't know category. Look, man, I can't stop you if you still want to keep sleeping with her. Free country. But at least now you know exactly what role you're playing in my marriage. And with that, I turned around, got in the car, and drove off. Didn't even stick around for his apology tour or his sad boy monologue. I made my point. When I got back home, Gabriella was passed out, sprawled across the couch like she'd just completed a triathlon in tequila. I grabbed her phone and took as much evidence of the affair as I could. Screenshots, messages, the whole digital crime scene. I was basically CSI, betrayed husband. Then I sat and waited. No sleep for me that night. Just sitting there, wide awake in a chair, watching her breathe, half hoping she'd wake up so I could unleash hell, half hoping morning would come sooner. And, of course, morning came first. She was still passed out on the couch, and I was sitting in one of the chairs like some sort of bitter night watchman. When she finally stirred awake, my first instinct was to dive right into it, but I knew better. Nothing pisses me off more than trying to argue with someone who's still half groggy. So, I bit my tongue and gave her about 30 minutes to collect herself. So once she finally looked human again after her 30-minute hangover recovery, I went straight in. Do you remember what happened yesterday? I asked. She squinted like I'd just asked her to solve calculus. I went out with friends. We drank. That's about it. Right? And do you remember anything else? Like, maybe, oh I don't know, the part where you stumbled home drunker than a frat pledge and started running your mouth. She frowned. No. What did I say? Oh, just a little something about a guy named Taylor. That got her. She shot upright like I'd just poured ice water down her back. The hangover fog evaporated real quick. Wait, what? How? How do you know about Taylor? She stammered. I smirked. Because you told me. Out loud. With your mouth. While slurring your words so badly it sounded like bad karaoke. Then, while you were passed out like a degenerate on the couch, I went and paid him a visit. Her jaw dropped. You what? You want to see him? That's impossible. You couldn't have known where he lives. I leaned back in my chair like a smug detective who just solved the case. Turns out, it was a lot easier than you think. In fact, call him right now if you don't believe me. He'll confirm. And here's the funny part. She didn't even try to deny it. No fake tears, no gaslighting, no you misunderstood me. Nothing. Just silence. Which, honestly, was hilarious in the most depressing way. So, I asked the question that had been burning a hole in my chest. Why? Seriously, why? We haven't even been married 5 years. We just had a kid. I've been here for you through everything. Pregnancy, postpartum, sleepless nights, diapers. What exactly did I miss? Tell me what more I was supposed to do to stop you from feeling the need to cheat. She just sat there, and I already knew I wasn't going to like the answer. And boy was I right. Fine, she said. You want to know why? It's all your son's fault. I actually laughed. I couldn't help it. It was just too ridiculous. Oh, brilliant. Blame the baby. The literal infant. That's your excuse. But she wasn't joking. She was dead serious. Yes, she said, eyes narrowing. After I had him, my life completely changed. He killed my vibe. I'm not who I used to be anymore. Everything feels bleak. Even you are unappealing to me now. I just stared at her. Unappealing? Lady, I was running on 3 hours of sleep and still remembered to brush my teeth. Give me some credit. She went on, still straight-faced. Being a mother isn't what I thought it was going to be. I needed excitement. So, I chose to get it from someone who wasn't you. She looked me dead in the eye and said, you can blame me all you want, but you don't understand the struggles of a woman. Especially a woman like me, who had to suffer postpartum depression after giving birth. Oh great. Now we're pulling the you wouldn't understand because you're a man card. Classic. She kept going, like she was delivering a TED Talk on how to justify terrible decisions. Ever since we had our son, I haven't found anything to truly excite me. Nothing. So, I had to take my happiness into my own hands. I refused to let what's morally right stop me from that. I just sat there, blinking. So, let me get this straight. Cheating was your self-care routine? But she wasn't finished. Oh no, she had more material. Would you have preferred that our son grow up with a mother who wasn't happy with her life? I almost laughed in her face. Really? That's your pitch? Out of all the possible ways to chase happiness, exercise, therapy, hobbies, yoga, hell, even learning how to bake, you landed on adultery? That's the hill you want to die on. To be honest, I was speechless when she wrapped it up. Not only was she completely unremorseful, but her reasoning was just Olympic-level mental gymnastics. I mean, I'm not trying to downplay postpartum depression. It's brutal, I know, but using it as your all-access hall pass to betray your wedding vows? That's a plot twist I didn't see coming. And blaming it all on a child who just turned 1. That's rich. Like, sorry, honey, mommy cheated because you ruined her vibe. Imagine explaining that at career day. The part that made it even more insane was the fact that I wasn't exactly some absentee dad who left her drowning in diapers. If anything, I'd already been shouldering half, okay, maybe more than half, of the parenting since she was diagnosed. Midnight feedings, diaper blowouts, spit-up showers. I was basically dad of the year. So she wasn't even juggling the struggles of the average mom. She had the deluxe package, postpartum support with free babysitting included. Finally, I found my words and asked, "Wait, you're really saying that the reason you went out and had an affair was because of our child?" And the worst part? She didn't flinch. She didn't hesitate. She didn't even look ashamed. She just nodded defiantly and said, "Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying." In that moment, it hit me like a ton of bricks. All those fears I'd had about her lack of closeness to our son, they weren't in my head. They were real. I couldn't even tell if she really loved him. Hell, half the time I thought she saw him as some kind of evil gremlin who snuck into her womb and ruined her glamorous, champagne-fueled life. And right there, in that moment, I knew I had to protect my boy from her, no matter what. So I looked her dead in the eye and said, "If you can say something like that, there's no future for us. None. Nada. Finito." I might as well have been serving her divorce papers on a silver platter with a garnish of sarcasm. I followed it up with, "I'll leave your life. No problem. But I'm taking our son with me so you can chase all that excitement you keep whining about." She blinked at me like I'd just started speaking Klingon. "What do you mean, take our son?" I raised my eyebrow, so high I thought it might just stay there permanently. "What do I mean?" "Oh, nothing big. Just full custody." That, apparently, was the magic phrase. Saying it must have given me some Jedi-like focus, because I had the presence of mind to switch on my phone's recorder and catch everything from that point. Best decision I made all day. She exploded like a soda bottle shaken in the back of a teenager's car. "You want what?" I shrugged. "Why are you freaking out? You already admitted that your 1-year-old is the reason you can't go live your super exciting, vodka cranberry-fueled fantasy life. If you want to stumble home at 3 a.m. smelling like tequila and regret, you don't really need him holding you back." She came back at me with, "Just because I said it's his fault doesn't mean I don't want anything to do with him. He's still my son." That's when I lost it. Not a dignified chuckle. Not a polite laugh. Nope. I laughed like a man who just found out the universe runs entirely on irony. Between gasps I said, "Oh yeah? That's rich. You're blaming a baby for ruining your nightlife. But sure, he's still your son." Great parenting logic. I straightened up and gave her the line that felt like the mic drop moment. "We'll fight it out in court. Don't waste your breath now. You blamed him for your dissatisfaction, and he's not safe around you." That one landed. Her face turned redder than a stop sign. She snapped back. "Are you implying I'd hurt our child?" I tilted my head and shrugged again, playing it cool. "I don't know if you would, but I'm not taking the risk." "Sorry, not sorry." Her hands balled into fists, and she was shaking with rage like some cartoon character about to have steam whistle out of her ears. She warned me, like, literally warned me, not to ever say that again. And me? I decided I liked breathing too much to push my luck further. I leaned back, as calm as a monk on vacation, and said, "You better find yourself a good lawyer for the divorce, because I'm getting one today. Filing starts now." I made good on that promise, and she let me know when she got a lawyer. Of course, it came with the smug little text, "Just so you know, I've hired legal representation." The emoji was the cherry on top, like she was filing for a spa day, not divorce. The living situation? Oh boy, our son became the golden ticket. She refused to let me move out with him. Over my dead body, she hissed, and she refused to move out without him. So here we were, two sworn enemies still sharing a roof like an episode of some trashy reality show. I kept telling myself, once the custody hearing starts, she'll be under so much scrutiny that nothing can happen. It was like waiting for the ref to blow the whistle so I could finally tag out. When the divorce proceedings finally kicked off, I wasn't surprised to see her and her lawyer marching in like they were storming Normandy. They wanted everything. Custody split down the middle, alimony, child support. I nearly laughed in the courtroom. My lawyer leaned over and whispered, "This is ridiculous," which was the first time in weeks I didn't feel like the crazy one. Her argument was that she made less than me. Poor thing, especially after cutting down her workload because of childbirth. I almost wanted to clap. "Congratulations, Gabriella," I said across the table. "You discovered what literally every working mother already knows. Kids are work. Too bad you also discovered adultery at the same time. If we hadn't been divorcing because she cheated, I would have supported her no problem. I had already been doing that. But now, she wanted me to bankroll her lifestyle after blowing up the marriage. Absolutely not. I wasn't going to fund her hot girl summer, now with legal fees campaign. She sat there dabbing her eyes with a tissue, sighing about how there wouldn't be anyone to support her financially if I didn't pay. I leaned over to my lawyer and muttered, "She says that like it's my problem. Maybe her boyfriend's hiring." I spelled it out crystal clear. She didn't deserve alimony because she was selfish and put her own desires over the marriage when it mattered most. She didn't deserve child support, or even custody, because she clearly didn't care about our kid as much as I did. Every scrap of evidence I had of her affair, presented, neatly, like PowerPoint slides at a company meeting. Here's Gabriella at the hotel. Here's Gabriella texting sweet nothings. Here's Gabriella explaining she was working late. Any questions? From her side, sure, maybe I was playing hardball, but I wasn't about to give her a participation trophy for blowing up the family. The most I was willing to concede was my car. A 2018 model, fully paid off. I figured she could at least Uber herself to her next disaster. But the apartment? Off the table. Custody? Not happening. Money? She could try the lottery. I wanted her to end up with nothing. Needless to say, Gabriella and I couldn't reach any agreement outside of court. Shocker, right? The woman who thought motherhood was an optional weekend gig wasn't exactly in the mood for compromise. So off we went to court. Now, when I saw the judge walk in and saw that she was a woman, I'll admit, I already mentally started packing my bags for a life of ramen noodles and supervised visits. I mean, let's be honest, family courts tend to lean toward mothers even if the dad has literal video footage of mom juggling tequila shots while holding the baby. But when it's a female judge, yeah, let's just say my confidence level was somewhere between lottery ticket odds and me getting back together with Gabriella. I must have looked nervous because my lawyer leaned over and whispered, "Don't worry. She's actually very grounded in her decisions. She doesn't play favorites." "Oh good," I muttered back. "So maybe I won't be financially waterboarded today." That's encouraging. Turns out, the lawyer wasn't lying. This judge didn't mess around. She sat there, flipping through my neatly organized binder of evidence, screenshots, call logs, videos, basically the highlight reel of Gabriella's greatest hits as worst mom of the year. After reviewing everything, she looked at Gabriella and said, "Pregnancy is tough. I acknowledge the risks and challenges, but none of that excuses your actions. You cheated. You deflected accountability onto your child. And the proof is overwhelming that Ryan here was pulling more than his weight as a father." Translation: Ryan is parenting, you're partying, and this isn't an episode of Keeping Up with the Trash Decisions. When the gavel came down, it was like music to my ears. Gabriella walked away with essentially nothing. The very car I was generously prepared to offer her, gone. Stayed with me because the judge gave me full custody of our baby for the first year. She said custody would be revised after that, but for now, Gabriella wasn't exactly fit to be solely in charge. Understatement of the century. Of course, visitation was still allowed. And honestly, fine. My kid deserves a mother. But if that mother is going to act like the patron saint of selfishness and a bad influence, then I wanted that kept far, far away from my kid. I kept telling myself I'd let it go. I mean, I already had full custody, the car, and the moral high ground. It was like hitting the divorce jackpot. I didn't need anything else. That was enough revenge for me. But no, Gabriella couldn't just take her L and sit quietly in her corner. She had to make it a Broadway performance. Next thing I know, she's out there lying to people, spinning this tragic "he stole my son from me" narrative. Apparently, I'm the evil villain in her fairy tale now. She kept playing the mother card because, let's be honest, it works. Mother instantly melts people. Father? Not so much. A father could save a bus full of nuns and orphans and still be asked, but where was the mom? So, of course, I had random people showing up to confront me. The third one came up to me at the grocery store of all places, right when I was debating whether to buy the generic cereal or treat myself to the real Frosted Flakes. This woman looks at me, all judgment dripping from her eyes, and goes, "Ryan, how dare you take a child away from his mother?" I looked her dead in the eye and said, "Ma'am, do you want the short version or the full subscription package with bonus features?" She blinked. "What?" I pulled out my phone like I was about to show her a new Netflix special, because I've got a recording right here of Gabriella blaming her 1-year-old for her affair. That's right, my infant son apparently hypnotized her into bed with another man. Don't worry, it's all very compelling stuff. And just like that, she backed away like I was holding a live grenade. No apology, no nothing. Just the universal, I'm gonna mind my own business retreat. At first, I only exposed Gabriella to the people who came after me. You know, like self-defense. But then I thought, why stop there? If she wanted to run an anti-Ryan PR campaign, I was going to beat her at her own game. I went full marketing mode. I made sure as many people as possible had the evidence, because this wasn't going to be a he said she said soap opera. Oh no, this was going to be a documentary with receipts. And let me tell you, the reaction was chef's kiss. People who had been all high and mighty suddenly couldn't find their words. Before, they had paragraphs prepared, TED Talks worth of moral outrage. After the recording, crickets. You'd think I just told them their Wi-Fi was down. It really is hilarious how quickly people can play judge, jury, and executioner when they only hear one side of the story. But the second the truth comes out, boom, instant amnesia. So yeah, that was basically it. Gabriella left the marriage with basically nothing. No custody, no car, no moral standing. And then, cherry on top, she still had the audacity to try and badmouth me to other people. Thankfully, there was more than enough evidence for me to dispute the fairy tale Gabriella was spreading. You know, the one where I'm apparently the worst husband and father since the dawn of mankind. Yeah, that story. I had receipts, literal recordings, screenshots, the works. The jury of public opinion doesn't care much about feelings when you shove hard evidence in their faces. Suddenly, the whispers about me being controlling or unfair went quiet. Shocking, right? Now, she's the one who has to deal with the consequences. Last I heard, she's moved back in with her parents. Because nothing screams responsible adult quite like moving back into your old bedroom that still has Twilight posters on the wall. She's only come around to see our son once since the divorce. Once. Which, correct me if I'm wrong, probably isn't the kind of attendance record the judge is going to throw confetti over when it comes time for a custody revision. I can just imagine the courtroom. Your Honor, I've been here for my son every single day. And Gabriella piping up, well, I came by that one Tuesday 3 months ago. Remember, sweetheart? Yeah, real compelling case. Being a single father is hard, admittedly. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Kids don't raise themselves, despite what Gabriella seems to think. But I've got a wonderful support circle, and they help take some of the weight off my shoulders. Friends, family, neighbors, basically everyone except the one person who should actually be doing it. With their help, I can snag enough breaks to run errands and go to work without losing my mind. Generally speaking, though, I've got a bigger hope. I hope everyone out there, the ones getting a divorce because their partner couldn't keep it together, ends up on top too. The system needs a serious reset. It's been way too generous to the wrongdoers, handing them sympathy, custody, sometimes even cash like they've won some weird moral lottery. Divorce shouldn't be an escape hatch for cheaters and liars to pull whenever they mess up. We need to stop rewarding that nonsense and quit making divorce look like such an easy way out, even for wrongdoers. Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments section below and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.